What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Unfuck My Startup. Uh, Today's a topic that we all want to know about. Everybody wants to know how to cold email better. We have somebody with us today. His name is V. He is literally the doctor of cold email these days. He's the founder CEO of SmartLead. He is helping businesses finally break free from the manual grind and unlock a consistent flow of qualified leads. He's built a platform that's all about working smarter, not just harder when it comes to outreach. Get ready to rethink how you find your next customers. We're joined by the founder and CEO of SmartLead. What is up, V? Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. That's a great intro. I will try and get a snippet of that and do it before every call I've got.
Every call later on. So the thing that there's what all of you want to know from V, which is what is working in outbound today. And this guy knows more because of what his system does, which is sends loads of cold email. He knows more about what is happening in outbound, what's working, what's not in the macro than literally anybody else. But he's also a bootstrapper. So fuck yeah, there, brother. That's what I'm talking about. And he's one of these magical bootstrappers that has reached this exit
Uh,
velocity, beautifully sized 20 million
uh,
plus ARR business, like not a ton of employees. I have to imagine it's pretty profitable. I just wanted to mention that because everybody should know that here's another exemplar of how we should all be building. So thank you for providing such great inspiration, my man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. We stand on the shoulder of giants, much like yourself.
Well, I'm flattered. I'm flattered.
Yeah.
So
So
Pete,
V.
what is the order these days?
I mean, it hasn't changed too much. So we're gonna hop into the pitch slap. So V, we have our first section is called the pitch slap. We pull up somebody that we pre-selected from the audience. Today we have Vadim Galiv. He is from Score Machine AI. You're no stranger to sending messages out to bad leads. I'm certainly not. And Vadim is here to help correct that. So there's two
Okay.
sections where we call up audience members. This is the first one. It's called the pitch slap. If folks, audience, if you would like to participate in the pitch slap, email producer@rb2b.com. We'll take a look. We would love to have you up. This is kind of like half Shark Tank, half QVC a little bit. So people will pitch. There's usually, the chatterbox goes a little wild, the chat down there. We'll run a poll where people can vote if they would like to, or if they're, it's something they would buy or not buy just off the concept. And then we have them book demos straight within the chat, which is usually pretty awesome. Sometimes they get a couple dozen demos, which is, depending on your ACV and your company, that's like an SDR's month. So it's good. We love doing it. So we're pulling up Vadim here.
Thanks for having me here today. It's a huge pleasure. Thank you. I'm flattered as well. Yeah, and this audience, I hope it will take less than usual because in this audience, I don't need to explain why do we need to have good leads, right? And also because we all came here to listen to Vaibhav, I think I don't need to explain why you need the tools to validate emails. And let me present you a score machine. So that's a project that I'm working on. And just let me know, guys, if you see my screen right now. Do you see my screen?
Yet.
Yes.
Oh,
Now we
there we
do.
go.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So pretty much score machine is like a zero bounce and never bounce, but for mobile phones. And for those of you who have been using Clay, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are using Clay, you've probably seen Clear Out Phone being added to their normal waterfall. So unlike that tool, we are not just about normalization and making sure that the digits are right there in that number. We are actually getting the actual status for the whether that number was ported from one service to another service, from one operator to another network, and we can give insights on contactability. You've probably seen another tool like that. It's called Titan X, and unlike Titan X, we are covering more than 160 countries. and we don't take, and let me just use my Dubai number just to prove the point. And we don't take 24 hours to deliver the results. It's, well, it doesn't say anything, but let me just do it again. I'm bootstrapping that thing, guys, and yeah, it's all built as we go. So yeah, as you can see, here are my mobile operator details, carrier name, where I'm based, the time zone, and moreover, we also retrieve instant messenger statuses. So if I have a WhatsApp or Telegram account connected to that number, you'll be able to see that, and you will be able to add that to your outreach sequence. Soon we will have device detection, RCS, iMessage, and so much more. And just because we have Vaibhav today, I want to show you something that is literally is still in the baking. And do you see me switching between tabs? That's
Yeah, we
you're
got
still on the
it.
Chrome.
Yeah.
You're still on the Chrome browser. Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
Yep.
I hope you see the next tab. So on that tab, I'm just showing like our take on email validation. So unlike zero bounds and never bounds, where you have the, whether it's a valid or invalid or catch-all address, we go a little bit beyond that, and we also retrieve the last seen status. So you will be able to send your emails only to those to the inboxes where there was a recent activity. And all this information adds up to our contactability score. That's why we are called Score Machine. So stay tuned, book a demo, and let's unfuck cold outreach together.
Hell yeah. Who's going to book a
That's
demo?
pretty cool,
Right
man.
demo. Who's going to book a demo with Vadim?
Score machine.
V, is there or Vadim, is there a way to upload like in bulk? Can I do like a CSV of emails? Okay.
Well, right now, not a CSV. So we are still working on the self-service, and that's probably the area we need to grow at. But right now, we support API and SMPP integration, which is probably. By the way, let me know when the next time Varun is here, right? Because the end goal is to be on that clay waterfall as well. So right now we support API and SMPP. We are happy to provide all that integration support for you. If you are doing if you have more than one SDR doing more than 100 calls a day, and which is totally normal, like Kevin last week told us that it normally is between 150 and 200, then probably that tool would, like having that tool in your marketing stack would make sense. So we are happy to provide all the support and integration. We are just starting, and as I said, I'm kind of bootstrapping that whole thing. So yeah, I'd love to have demos with the crowd from
Cool.
Well,
Unfuck My
hey,
Startup.
pop in your calendar link into the chat. People will book some demos with you. And yeah, folks, I mean, I think this is I think most outreach strategies fail because people reach out to 80% of just dead leads. So I'm glad folks are out there fixing it, especially a bootstrap founder like yourself. So hey man, thank you for joining. And let's hop into it. So V, a lot of people want to, I think the first place we should start
Well,
is
hold
talking
on.
about,
Let's just in the event that there's anybody in this chat that does not know what SmartLead does, what does SmartLead do? Just to give some context to
that's me.
why you are such an authority in this area of study, right?
All right, fair enough. The goal is simple. We help people who want new leads reach their leads primary inbox consistently. That's about it. You can send a lot of emails at scale, and the best hope that we can offer for you is we make sure that you constantly show up in your leads top of the line primary folder. So they get to reply back to you, you get to book a meeting, and then you close the deal, make some money.
Boom.
Yep.
Now let's get into it.
heck yeah, the ultimate 2025 lead gen
Anthony,
strategy.
by the way, V, Anthony Richards wants to know what does Instantly do?
They're a great tool. They're a great tool. We tend to just play front and back with each other.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Anthony, off the top rope there. Oh.
We like that kind of stuff.
We love it.
So let's jump into, are you doing cold outreach at SmartLead? Is that one of your lead gen tactics?
Yeah, we definitely do outbound. It's been doing it for a while. As you guys know, that does flip based upon how the markets go. Sometimes it's the higher perspective, sometimes it's a lower perspective. Content takes precedence, word of mouth takes precedence, product led takes precedence. Right now, outbound accounts for not the lion's share of our revenue, but I think the first year and a bit, it accounted for a lion's share of revenue.
So is it more right now where you're at, it's kind of supplementing the other growth channels that you're leveraging? It's
Absolutely. I think when we're nearly 3 years in at this point, just a month or two shy of it. We're pumping on all cylinders, right? We're doing outbound, social, paid, content, collaborations, everything that
You're making appearances on people's live shows.
well, yeah, we're making an appearance on people's live shows, and that's wherever we can be, we want to be. So omnipresent. So, and I think that's the same thing that I tell for most people is it's not a fight. It's not like engineers are beating marketers, and marketers beating engineers. Both need to exist for each of us to make money.
We hear that. We'd slowed down some of our like outbound stuff last year and focused really heavily on brand. If anyone
Yeah.
doesn't know, you're on a brand marketing asset right now on this show, and still today I'm sure there's a ton of emails going out via SmartLead for our B2B right now. So, what are you or your clients and the customers of SmartLead? Are there like some foundational elements of an outbound strategy that you're seeing work today? We've just seen email change so much over the years, and I mean, especially Smartly, right? You're sending out these. You have this kind of robust infrastructure that you have to set up. Nowadays, you want your emails to look like they're coming directly from that person, even though you might be sending out thousands. So, what are some
Mhm.
of these tactics that people are using to get ahead right now?
Right now, a bunch of people are trying a bunch of these vendors that have really interesting setups, predominantly from the Outlook side, where you can do a bunch of Azure type setups or shared mailboxes. There are a ton of vendors out there. Don't wanna keep any bias. You can check most of them out there in the market. That seems to work well for a ton of people. Other than that, like, the market switches up and down, but the core functionality doesn't change as much. Some people change their warm-up settings up and down here and there, which is completely fair, and we see that happen all the time. Back in the day, people used to do 40 warm-ups. Nowadays, people do a lot less, maybe in the 20 to 26 range. Back in the day, people used to do 40 outbound. Nowadays, 20 to 20, 27 is more so the floating range. Some people still do 40, some people do five, some people do two.
You're
It's
saying
truly,
emails per day. Sorry, from that.
yeah, mails per day
Okay.
per mailbox. Some people do two, some people do 26, some people still stick to the traditional 40, right? Um, but putting the technicals aside, the biggest thing still has been, will be, and continue to be, and I've said this on multiple of the similar brand asset office hours we've got, is content copy and relevance. You definitely have to have varied content. You cannot keep the same information anymore. I think some people have seen this or not. More recently, we introduced a principle called sender bounce. What sender bounce effectively means is the lead actually exists, the mail has bounced, but the mail has bounced simply because either your tenant's blown up or you're sending spam copy, right? That's pretty much the way it is, and the reason why I think this has happened is pretty simple. It's pretty much peeling the onion. Back in 2010s, what occurred was Gmail and Outlook. Again, this is me with the tinfoil hat on, of course. Gmail, Gmail Outlook said, "All right, we'll beat them on the technicals." The MX records, DKIM, DMARC, SPF, we've all heard the fancy titles. Then they said, all right, now everyone's doing the fancy shit. Let's just go something a bit further than that. They started getting into things like tenant fingerprinting and not buying too many mailboxes from a single workspace, or tenant is the equivalent of an admin for anyone who uses Microsoft. All that fancy stuff, right? We cannot have too many mailboxes per tenant, bounce rates matter, reply rates matter, etc. That was part two, and that still existed. Part three is kind of where we are right now, effectively meaning they're now going to use content as a way to identify whether you're a spammer or not, right? Or your relevance is high or not. We've seen this, and again, so I may say that the whole I've said this in the I've previously said this, so please forgive me because I've repeated this a few times on my side as well, which is we've literally seen where we would send mails to 10 people, which is our own mailboxes. And when I would mark the first mail as spam and I refresh on the right side, maybe three or four, you would see that mail disappear and hit the spam folder. And it's common. Other people have seen it. We're not the first ones to discover it. It happens. And the reason why that happens is because the content's the same. So when your content is the same, these Bayesian algorithm baseline secure email gateways or Google spam filter or Outlook spam filters pretty much pick up that this content has been previously marked as spam. So I'm going to go ahead and change it up or move it to spam, right? So yeah, that's the TLDR. The baseline format is quite straightforward. You're in the world of AI, in the world of relevance. Our B2B obviously has something great to offer on that part as well, which is stay very, very relevant to your lead, change your copy very proactively, spin tax the crap out of it, use AI where you have to. Um, and it's not that hard to close a deal then at that point.
I have a lot of questions about, well, I have a couple of really big questions about this content or copy thing. So I remember, I mean, I think we've all seen that HubSpot list of like, it's like, here are the 400 spam words that you want to avoid in your email copy. We were all using that for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Is there, I would imagine with just AI, and I mean, Google has one of the most robust
Sure.
AI systems. I use Gemini every day. Are there new rules to follow when it comes to copy? Is it still based on words, or is it more like the repetition of the copy? Are there certain kind of changing principles that people should be aware of?
Great question. A bit nascent for me to give a direct answer saying this is the absolute, because I know when I say something, everyone says, I told you said that, and this I get a screenshot recording and I'm like, all right, okay. So I've been caught in the past for that. So I try to be very neutral. So please forgive me if I come with very lame politically correct answers, been burnt. And that's just because it changes. What I say right now, as you all know, will probably change by the 19th of May, right? Something's going to happen by then. But to answer your question very quickly, uh, we've actually got a spam tracker. The words, it's actually when you create content, you can see that yourself at that point and end. And what we also go ahead and do is we have something on the delivery side where you can actually see when you change content, how many mails land in primary, how many land in secondary, how many land in the promotion or spam folder. So what I can point out to very straightforward over here is without going into certain, I guess, patterns to follow, what I can suggest is what you can do to be on top of your game so that I'm not giving a templated solution, right? If you got Microsoft or if you got Google, with Microsoft, you got Microsoft Defender, and with Google, you got Postmasters. So Microsoft Defender, the interesting thing, I don't know which subscription model it is, but on the higher tiers, you can effectively see where your emails land. So it's not that secretive. So if you set up for Microsoft Defender and you send your mails through Microsoft Defender, which is basically you can connect your mailboxes to Microsoft Defender, it will tell you if your mail has landed in the target leads Microsoft account, if it is Microsoft, if it's landed in the spam or primary folder. It's not 100% accurate 99% of the time. There's irony in that, but it does work. Cool. And the second thing is with Postmasters. What Postmasters does for you is it gives you very good indication of how many people are marking your content as spam and how many people are not marking as spam. When people are marking as spam, what you can easily do, it's actually straightforward. You get a list of those mails that have been marked as spam, pull it down, and generally, if you're just lazy AF, take that CSV, dump it to ChatGPT, and straight away say, what are some common word clouds of patterns of words that I'm using here that's marking me as spam? So it's not that your mail will go to spam directly because of this, but what it will mean is there's a higher chance now future mails you send that contain similar words will probably end up in spam. These are just preventative patterns I can offer. So sort of flipped it, if you don't mind, which was less around here's what you should do versus here's the measures that you can set up and you'll be able to figure out or sail your own boat as a result.
Can I ask some detail about something you said earlier? So you were like, are you suggesting that it's a good idea to send completely unique emails to all of your
100%.
leads? So, and
100%.
you use AI to do that, use Clay to do that, whatever, but it
You
should
can
be.
use AI, you can use spin taxing, like regressive spin taxing. So
What
the
is spin
magic
taxing?
number, spin taxing
I've never heard.
basically means is pretty much just instead of saying, hey, first name, blah, 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 you get to say, hey, hi, hello, first name. So the change of verbiage effectively, quote unquote, the job of that is to effectively help bring
Yeah.
in more randomization and draw in a bit more humanistic pattern. But the concept to draw here is Google's not dumb, right?
Yeah.
Hey, hi, hello is kind of all the same shit, right?
Yeah.
So what they're going to look for is intent or switch. So effectively, it's the same as doing A/B testing. So you have to try different angles and offers, or your syntax needs to be so aggressive, which is not hey, hi, hello, but it has to be good morning, Adam, or um, I read about you somewhere, Adam. So it's all greetings, but very different greetings. It's not just hey, hi, hello anymore. And
Yeah.
you can do that in nested ways, and you can do that littered across your entire content. So when you're sending an email, it can be the same copy or intent, but it's completely separate messages because of the permutation combinations you've got going for 1,000 separate leads,
That's crazy. Does
if that makes
your
sense.
system do that?
Yeah, we've been doing it for 2 years, 2, 3 years,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Is it
Really?
and is that like a PLG fee? Like everybody listening could just sign up and like within they could up level their
You can do
skill and they
that.
could just get in there and do it. They don't need agency help or anything.
Great question. So as of now, you want to use like a syntax generator, but probably as of tomorrow, day after, we've got our own, like we've got a syntax creator, so you can click a button, put in like general content or your singular copy, click a button, and then we'll syntax the crap out of it for you. So you should be sorted.
Sick.
Tom in the chat asked about the subject line. Do you do the same thing for subject lines where you?
Uh,
Yeah.
Fabulous question. No, I don't do it for subject lines. For subject lines, you actually have to have A/B testing. The reason is simple, because the goal of syntax over here is to be the spam filter. The goal of the subject line is to get through click-through rates. So if your subject line is different and you've got syntaxing, most platforms, including us, will not be able to tell you won't have the analytics to get the exact verbiage that converted. I mean, you'll have all the data, but you'll have to actually pull it down and do it your way. But if you want to do different subjects, you can simply A/B test it. You can add like 90 A/B variants on our platform. So don't spin tax, just create your 90 variants. So that way you actually have pretty solidified data sets to let you know this is working versus this isn't. Because again, with spin tax, it's not treated as a separate variant altogether. It's just randomization.
A few other questions popped up about subject line. Are there a specific number of words that you're finding from SmartLead folks who are getting, I guess, quality open rates? Is it like
So
a
not
word?
words. It's actually it's how human you keep it. So a new pattern that a trend we're seeing a lot of people do more recently. I think as of just like literally April, May, is all lowercase and like 3 or 4 words. Right?
All
Literally
lowercase?
looks like it's like a work email. Yeah.
Actually, somebody, Venki in the chat had asked about, yeah, Venki said, pretty much everyone's inbox is flooded. I wonder if any economic buyer is spending more than 1 second to look at cold email these days. I think they are if it looks like it's coming from a human. If it
Yeah.
looks like you're actually trying to reach out to them with something of value there's intent behind it. I think even at the end of it, if they realize that it's a sales email, they've already digested your value proposition, and at that point that's really what matters. And yeah, I mean, we're big users of Fixer here. I don't know if you use
Oh yeah,
Fixer.
I do.
We had the Fixer guys, Richard and Archie, on the show too. So I mean, heck, that all goes into a marketing folder that I don't even see. But the really
Mhm.
really good ones still hit my inbox. I still open them and I read them. So
Well, I think you've nailed a really good point over here, which is kind of what happened to resumes, where you're not actually building the resume for a recruiter, but for AI. Now you're actually going to be writing emails to be categorized by AI. So step one is to be the spam folder. Step two is now to be an AI categorizer that decides that, yeah, your mail is actually something that's important versus marketing, right? And I think because I use Fixer as well, there's, the important marketing, promotion, notification, all that jazz. So you probably now want to use these tools or sign up to them. Good idea. I'm thinking through as we go through it and figure out where their AI categorizes your mail. Because to your exact point, Pete, I pretty much don't even read anything that says marketing or notification. I literally just click on it, select all, mark as read, right? I only focus on I think urgent or whatever the term they
Yeah,
have over
like
here
needs
to
needs
respond.
respond needs
To
response and
respond,
FYI.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
To
respond and
respond and
FYI.
FYI.
Those are the only two ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't be surprised. if more people start offering email filtering with needs response, if you start getting really clever outbound that solicits response.
Yeah, yeah. So
You know?
it's actually a great way for you to go ahead and figure out what these tools are doing, because you're probably going to be reaching out. The more they grow, you're probably going to be reaching out to someone who's their customer. That means they effectively kind of become a meta Google, because they now get
Yeah.
to decide your fate, not just Google itself.
Oh, dude, why is it so hard?
We say
Uh,
that, but we're all using Fixer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, I know. But that's the ultimate play, right? I mean, if someone goes ahead and builds the root and the cause, meaning that you built a filter on top of other mailboxes to classify mails, but you only just allow like SmartLead mails to come through. That'll be. I don't know if that's gonna have some legal cycles to it, but that'll be a fun one to build.
Hey, how about this? We'll build the product and you can just like pay us.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, Lucina is a great question, but let's do the unfuck my startup segment first, and then we want to ask you about enterprise spam filters because Jesse Willette was on here 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and
Yeah, yeah,
he was like nobody's getting through fucking enterprise filter. I just want to know if you have a differing opinion
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very curious
I
about it.
love
That
Jesse.
was that was new news to me. He was
Yeah,
basically he made us believe that you shouldn't even waste your time emailing anybody if they could afford Barracuda or whatever. If they could afford 50,000
yeah,
on. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so let's go
yeah,
unfuck
let's
my
pull somebody. So I would love somebody to come up and whose email infrastructure, or they just can't land in an inbox, or they can't convert or get opens or whatever it might be. They're just
and,
their email infrastructure is completely fucked.
and
Hey guys, sorry, I was just having a technical difficulty here. So
You're
sorry about
good.
that.
no
Thanks for coming
problem.
on, Steve.
Thank you guys. Thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions and see how things go. Um, so yeah, just let me know where to start, and I'm just and I can start from there. I have some email sequences that basically I uploaded to like a Google Sheets that I can, if that's something that I can share, like, and then we can go over that. Like, I just to know how it works.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's give
feel
it a
free to
try.
share.
Why not?
You know the best place to
Okay.
start. So yeah.
Let me see here.
You're getting a lot of
Oh, that's
good
a
comments on your collection
that's a
behind you as
yeah. I was
well.
gonna say that's a sick background.
Thanks.
Impressive.
Thanks. Um,
Keith
okay.
Gill, are you the Keith Gill that did the GameStop thing? Is this a different Keith Gill? You know, the Roaring Kitty? Never mind. Anyway, we'll have Steve share his screen. Different guy. Right on.
All right. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up. I did just start. Like, I've been in the company for 2 months, and I feel like most of my emails are going to spam. As I did similar sequences to what I used to do in my previous company, as it was a similar tool. It wasn't, copy and paste, and basically, it wasn't working as expected. So I'm very curious. Maybe I use spam words because in our industry, there's a lot of basically fraudsters. So I'm guessing that that might be one of the spammy words, let's say, right? Um,
Stefan,
so
have you shared it somewhere or?
Yeah, can you share your
I'm
screen?
trying to share. There we go. Okay. Window. Okay. 1 second.
You might need to hit more. It's got 3 dots and a circle around it. There you go.
Here. Do you guys see the screen with my
Yeah,
emails over here?
we now see a bunch of docs.
Okay. All right. So this is, let's say, for example, my starter email. I ask if they're aware. And then I have like a B version where I'm telling them we're monitoring your website and we see over X amount of active users. So all this information is true, right? So we're giving them actual data. So in my view, I'm sending them something that's humanized and not, robust.
I'm gonna let V answer this one, but articulating the word fraudsters and saying things like hijacked in a prospecting email is my opinion the wrong vibe. But turning it over to V.
Yeah. Anything with hijack phishing itself, that probably will be flagged directly by Gmail and Outlook.
Okay.
Even saying things like fraudsters will probably come towards that point. Um, I think this is great in terms of the brevity, and you're getting straight
Okay.
towards it. Let's just say you were trying to go ahead and sell. I always look at a WIFM, right? What's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to position it as a WIFM type approach, which is you're trying to sell to me saying, we've got a bunch of people targeting my brand, because we've had this issue, right? Affiliate jacking has
Mm-hmm.
happened to us,
Yeah.
right? If you can just go and throw a random number, it can be completely inaccurate, or if you got the accuracy even 10 times better, right? Be like, hey,
Yeah.
I found 50 something fraudsters targeting your brand, and what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So, uh, for example, here, like I'll have that, right. Like usually, my idea is to do a small intro in the first email and to try to get in the inbox, right. I try not to send any pictures, URL links, demo links,
That's
like
what I'm
to
saying.
book
So
a
that this
demo.
is actually perfect, right? Because the brevity
Mm-hmm.
is actually good. It's plain. It's very simple and straightforward. I'm just saying, if I were to receive this message, I guess because I'm in the industry, I sort of get called out and see that this is pretty much an automated mail.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to just send me a message saying, "Hey, we've been monitoring SmartLead's impressions. Notice that you've got about 30 something fraudsters hitting your brand and probably causing you unwanted affiliate revenue." Great.
Okay.
Now I'm interested.
So I do have like I do want to say, like, for example, here my first email that I decided to do, that was my first draft. This is like my
Sure.
what I've sent. I just wanted to get an idea. So here,
Sure.
like, this is for like CMOs, head of growth, so people that have like a lot of
Sure.
responsibilities
Yeah.
for the company's brand. So I'll say, like, several marketing leaders we've spoken to were shocked to learn how many impersonators abuse their brand in paid search, hijacking, blah blah blah. And then I talk about pain points. It damages your brand's reputation. It drives up CPC, and it makes it harder to measure true marketing performance, which these three things CMOs care about. Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Sorry, can I ask what your role is in your company?
So I'm a BDR. I do from A to Z.
Okay, sweet. So, this is just a genuine question, right? So please let me know if you can completely disagree, because some copies sometimes just opinion, and I might be wrong in
Hmm.
this, right? If I were to say, "Hey, Steve, um, sales is a very important part of any business, and it's important to drive revenue for the company." People are shocked when they realize that, the outbound engine drove X amount of revenue for them. I've helped companies, blah, 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 to do this much revenue. Would you like me to see how? The second part is
Okay.
fine, but the first part is you're explaining my own job to me, in the sense that I think there's a term I learned. It's called the presumed knowledge curse. The presumed
Hmm.
knowledge curse effectively means it comes in two ways. Either you speak less about it, assuming that the other person knows about it already, or you speak more about it, assuming the person doesn't know about it, right?
Hmm.
So if you're selling to a CMO, they're already well aware of brand impersonations causing impact to their business. So you've wasted
Okay.
3 lines on that part, right? I would
I
go
see.
into I would go more into the point of, yo, if this is hurting your brand right now, I've got a solution for you, right? Qualify
Mhm.
them straight away, because like I said, I always put myself in it. I am the person who was having some people take our affiliate link, make some money out of it, and we were actually paying, they were actually targeting our own brand keyword, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even if it was a cold email, I would have just reached out saying, send me a link, right? And if you send me a
Mhm.
screenshot showing me the Google thing, one or two things would have happened. Either I would have just ignored your mail and I said, I would have gone after my head of growth saying, hey, can we get this fixed?
Mhm.
Or I would have reached out to you saying, what the hell are you doing? What software are you using? Because I'm not able to solve it myself.
So I do have in my second or third email, which my third email, like, that basically, like, it goes here into more details, right? I'm telling them this is what our tool uncovered, and I'm sending a screenshot with verification backed up by like Google Ad Transparency. So I'm showing them, like, this is again where it's not personal. I actually have a screenshot of their
Fair enough.
company. It's not a
Fair
random
enough. And
company.
you've done that, but
Hmm.
so this is in terms of what Adam and Pete have been asking in terms of, hey, trends and patterns. Uh,
Hmm.
Most people don't go through even the third mail. I think by the third mail you're
Okay.
probably hitting spam. It's
Okay.
one or two, after which it's kind of just like you're doing it because your team has said you have to send a certain number of mails because you need to hit a KPI. but it's
Mhm.
either one or two nowadays. Not before.
I
I'm completely wrong there, but nowadays, yeah.
I
So I'm
remember.
curious to know when you say that because I had a ratio of, let's say, of 100 companies that I would reach out to. I booked around 4 meetings with my sequence that I had, and I had a 5 sequence, and like basically my last sequence like is like very simple, right? It's a, is this something that will be relevant to you? And I actually got the most answers on this one here. Like it's such a simple thing. Like they'll go back in the thread and they'll most likely read it, I'm guessing. But yeah, like that's why it's curious to me. But again, this was like
Great.
around
No, like I said,
three
if
months
that
ago.
works for you, fabulous, right? If that works for you,
Mhm.
fabulous. What we've tentatively seen, and my perception has come mainly from spam, not from content, right?
Okay.
So, like I said at the start of the conversation, after two, you're hitting spam.
Hmm.
And it's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's just that you're not going to get beyond two. And I think if you've had Jesse in the previous session, Jesse would have repeated a very similar concept, saying that as well. And we've seen
Hmm.
the same thing. Just for reference, SmartLead has a 1 to 5 ratio of leads to email sequences. That's pretty much our pricing model. But we've actually seen a
Hmm.
lot of customers actually just stick to 1 to 3 or 1 to 4.
Okay.
Rarely do they get to 1 to 5 nowadays, right? Um,
Hmm.
for no reason alone, but the fact that their mailboxes get burnt out.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
just to add one slight caveat to everyone, while you're over here, everyone talks about being marked as spam or bounces, etc., leads to you going to spam. No, it's not that. We all need to realize that mails were built for getting and receiving mails. That's it. That's the balance. It's not that complex. It's we're making a science out of something that is just very playground clay stuff. So, um, if you are sending thousands of mails for a very long period and your ratio is even 10%, that's great in the market, right? You get 10% reply rates or even 20% reply rates. That's still 80% who've not replied back to you. You scale that over 3 to 6 months, and now you've got a mailbox that effectively has not got 80% of mails every day for 6 months in a row. Your mailbox will burn out. Now, if
Hmm.
you do that with a 5 sequence ratio, that 6 months probably gets squeezed down to 3 months or 2 months. So that's the only thing. That's what we've seen. But I will put my hand up over here and say I've had many times where I've been proven straight up wrong. So all I can share is trends and patterns. And
Okay.
if it's working for you, uh, I'll always say this. I'll keep saying it. If it works, no touchy. Let it do its thing.
I agree. I agree.
If it works, no touchy.
Yeah, I'll write that
That's
one
it.
Um,
down. One other thing I just want to add to like I think it's really like if you are going into your cold email trying to educate the heck out of people, the way to do it is by meeting them where they already are. Like start by help start by telling people the story that they're already telling themselves and then
That's it.
work backwards from there. If you're trying to tell this completely different story, it's not going to pass the 2 second rule, which is essentially with the 2 seconds that I go to scan this to decide if I'm going to read it, am I able to filter it out in a way that my inbox wasn't, right? So I think a lot of people just try to educate way too much and immediately speak within their own world. But um, Steve, thank you for coming up, my friend. So let's get into Lucine had a great question about enterprise. So let's chat about emailing those heavier hitters. Let's say a CEO of I don't know a hospital or a chief at whatever. We
yeah,
all know what enterprise is.
anybody at like Nike, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
like, can I reach somebody at Amazon,
Yeah,
right? Like,
100%. I think Jesse was warranted in what he said, and he's got a lot of data and information to back his point. Um, Not a but, however, to add to that piece, we see people booking meetings with large companies every other day. Like I think I just scrolled upon a LinkedIn post yesterday where someone shared a screenshot which was our UI and they booked a meeting with Nike. You call out Nike very actively,
yep.
so it was a Nike executive, right? We had someone who booked someone with an Apple. And that's just old as yesterday or 2 days ago. So this works. That definitely works. However, the whole perspective over here is that will work once or twice and not at all after that for that particular domain. So if I were to go and reach out to someone at Apple with a particular mailbox domain and so on and so forth, the whole Barracuda example or Proofpoint example you gave, once my IP or once my domain's blacklisted, that's it. Say goodbye not only to my domain, but say goodbye to everything within that tenant, right? So it's a bit of a catch-22 where if you're sending to a Fortune 500, you probably want to keep like a separate set of mailboxes in completely separate isolated tenants. Because once you get called out there, yeah, there's the tenant level thing that I said is a bit aggressive, but if you are very proactive, and you're very aggressively reaching out, you will be blocked. And it'll be a straight block. Like it will not even bother. It'll be very unforgiving. It'll just lock you out altogether. So you will pretty much have to get a whole bunch of mailboxes that are not associated to your workspace or tenant at all, and then start sending midway up.
It's probably worth on
Shaheen,
those being. Oh,
oh, sorry.
sorry. Continue.
No, go for it, go for it. I was just reading the chat and popped in.
I was just going to say it's probably worth on those too, since you are sending out to enterprise and the opportunity is so much higher. I mean, one, the infrastructure recommendation V of having your own domains is fantastic. But number two, like send less emails and send more personalized emails, like stuff that shouldn't get flagged as spam. Like it should be very.
Yeah, I think that's the general rule. Like I think everyone says how to don't get flagged as spam, but not being spam. That's the easiest answer I can give you, right? It's how do I not kill someone? Don't stab them. Um,
Is the spam is the current spam threshold? I remember like 10 years ago when we were selling email marketing software, it was like, you don't want to be more than you don't want to get more than one spam complaint per thousand emails sent. Is that still kind of a benchmark that you follow, or are you even more
no, I think it's actually not as bad as that.
okay?
But Google did have that thing they pushed out about a year and a bit ago, where I think sorry if I'm forgetting the number, it was the top of my head, but I think it was 3 complaints per 1,000 messages, but for personal Gmail accounts only. Um, and so if you get 3 mails, if you're sending to private mailboxes, like at Gmail leads, and 3 leads mark you as spam, Gmail pretty much said it face first that they'll screw you over after that.
Interesting.
But that was for Gmail, and then I think they redacted because they initially set it for B2B, and it like spewed the whole market. Everyone's like, lead gen's dead, outbound's dead, which happens every 6 months in our space. And then I think literally 2 weeks after they pull back on their statement.
Yeah. Jim had a good summary. These are old school rules and also old school solutions. There really isn't a way around doing it right. Own hundreds of domains of possibles. Don't overspend. No spammy crap. Right on V, he says. I think that
Yeah.
sums it all up. So I want to quickly, right before I dive into this next topic, guys, Adam and I are recording our new show. We're doing 2 episodes tomorrow. Some of you have already left us voice notes. If you've seen podcasts before where they take audience calls, that is what we're doing. Click the link in the bottom. It says leave us a voicemail, and leave us a voicemail about your successes, your failures, your entrepreneurial journey, crazy stories, whatever it might be.
We'll send you some dope ass swag if you leave us a voicemail. We're just looking. We want to help solve people's problems. So leave us a voicemail. Audience, we are talking to you again. I feel like it's helpful to remind the people sometimes who are like currently doing 4 things and watching this.
Yes.
Leave us a voice note if you want to make it on our new show as someone with a featured problem. You can even prank call us if you want. That might be kind of funny. I don't want to invite that. Anybody got a personality here and want to prank call us and just surprise us on the YouTube show? We'll take
Hey, it's all about entertainment. So
yeah.
we'll do
Equal parts entertainment and education is what we're going for. So
that's right.
V, next question. Can you put links in cold emails? Question mark. And then I got a follow up to this one.
Got a hot take. If just to be controversial, if that link is brand fresh and new, sure, why not? But otherwise, no. You
Don't
should
send
not.
the same link in cold
That's
emails. Right.
That's it. That the general rule over here as to why links should not be included, beyond the fact that it's HTML and CSS, and that's usually a easy red flag for most mailbox providers or secure email gateways. Beyond anything, the principle of links, it's static. right? Because it's static, it actually ends up having an impact. We actually had a customer who removed, they were going through the whole thing, did not know what's up. Just, they did it, not to take any credit, they did it. They removed the phone number from the signature. Boom, flipped. Now, causation versus correlation, I don't know, but
Yeah.
seems pretty neat and makes sense in terms of staticization because Google's picked up or Gmail Outlook's picked up the fact that the second this little digit, like, this combination of numbers exist, people have marked it as spam. So same concept with links as well.
So can we send a SendSpark? Hey, Bethany, if you're here, I'm shouting you out again. Check SendSpark out. It's dope. I'm going to start actually doing this stuff. I keep saying this, but I'm actually going to do it now. Can you send something like a SendSpark video? Because that would be a unique, right? If they're personalizing the name of the person you're sending to, that would be a unique
So
asset.
so to be clear, if you just put in like a dead domain, like firstly, shout out Bethany, SensePark, love them. They're great tools. They know what they're doing. They're ahead of the market compared to most people. Um, if I attach a Loom video, I don't end up in spam, right? And I've seen that happen multiple times. I send Looms all the time. I don't end up in spam. The premise over here is if you have a single, like, hey, check out my website, blah.com, right? And that blah is just there all over the place. That has an impact, right? But I do believe even the team, the SensePark team, go ahead and actually do the SensePark message in the follow-up as well. So general rule, you want to keep the first mail as vanilla as possible. And the second mail where you want to sparkle all the HTML and fancy grub.
Ah, okay. So first
Because
email should be all lowercase 4 words. And then the
pretty
second
much,
email
yeah.
should be
Do
a
whatever the hell you want.
personalized video of me stripping in front of the LinkedIn
Exactly.
background that everybody knows.
With the Bitcoin
Right.
logo tattooed to your chest. That's what you want to shill, and then just have a Habibi come to Dubai at the background. So
All right.
that's what you want to have driving.
Yeah.
Once you get your foot in the door, then it's pretty much the gateways are open.
Rock and roll. What about open tracking? Somebody's asking about that. Do you believe in it? Do you not believe in it?
No, it was gone for so
How
much
do we
time.
evaluate if our stuff's working if we can't track opens?
I think deliverability tests are a common thing a lot of people do. You can run
And what
parallel
is that?
tests.
What does that entail? What does it do?
Deliverability test is simple. Just it's literally like we offer it, other tools offer it as well without any bias. It's your actual campaign, but you're actually sending it to a bunch of mailboxes that that particular platform owns,
Yeah.
and then you can just see whether the mails are landing in the primary or secondary folder.
Yeah.
Some caveat for you over there, something that we're excited to bring in very soon, is mailboxes, just like anything else, have personas. So what I mean by that is, if you send me an email about hair products, it's going to land in spam because I don't give a shit about that, unfortunately. But if you send Adam an email about hair products, it'll probably land in the primary folder because it's relevant to him, right?
I mean, it's what I spend most of my time on when I'm not on
Exactly, right.
camera.
That's I'm gonna ask for some links right after this. So with that perspective, so mailboxes actually have personas as well. So we've got it coming. We know a bunch of other people might be doing it as well. So we've got a bunch of mailboxes where we're gonna have 500 mailboxes that are personified to be a CEO, 500 personified to be an accountant, 500 personified to be a sales leader, right? And the same mail sent for this person will land in primary here, but secondary here and promotional here. So the TLDR answer for you is if you want to go ahead and track, you want to see performance, you can use the tools that do placement tests as a way to validate your open copy, your open rate tracking, etc. However, if you don't want to do that and you're like, nah, this is too redundant, you can use open tracking. No one's stopping you, but just don't use it as an end all be all. That's not your measurement of success. It's a pretty redundant metric. It's been well, we're in 2025 May, so it's been redundant for about 3.5 years now.
Dope.
Are there any one question I just wanted to get to? Are there any filtering tactics that you're seeing work well? Because I think the nothing is going to ruin your domain or increase your email infrastructure cost or decrease your success, like sending emails to a really shitty list. So are there
Yes.
specific tools that your users are using, whether it's inside of SmartLead, outside Clay, whatever it might be, that you recommend using as a filtering mechanism before you hit the send button?
So when you say filtering, you mean validation?
validating and filtering out probable non-ICP fits.
Okay, non-ICP fit comes from the very root itself. So Clay, after mentioning, that's the most common one we've seen. People don't talk about it a lot, just maybe because they don't think it's cool. But we love Clay. I love Clay. Varun's incredible. The entire team, Kareem, are fabulous. Clay solves a very important problem, but Apollo still exists, and Apollo does a great job, right? So the irony of all of this is Apollo is actually what we've seen a pretty decent share of lead sourcing for people. So if I were to put in like it's a balance, but we have a lot of customers who use probably get their lists from Apollo, upload the list to Clay, and then do all the like they do the relevance generation, the content, etc using Clay. So it's not that Clay alone does the job or Apollo alone does the job. Most of the time, you you can use Apollo not alone, but you need Clay, but you can't so Clay can be used alone by itself, right? But Apollo, most of the time, you probably want to have Apollo plus Clay to get something out for you in terms of the relevance. In terms of validation, I would simply say we've got a validation tool internally, or you got Lead Magic, Jesse's. It's by far been the one that's worked the best. We've seen customers prove that through and through. I do not get paid for this affiliation. I just have no agenda but to push something that works. So Lead Magic does a pretty sick job. People have good results from that if you want to validate your leads. In terms of relevance, like I said, Clay does a job for you. But Apollo is where you want to get the bulk of get the meat, and then you want to trim it all down based upon what Clay gives you.
Did you hear that, everybody? That is great advice right there. Let's see. Let's pick out one last audience question. Yes, we are posting the recording on YouTube shortly after this. We've changed up our editing, so hopefully it'll be out there before Friday. Let's see. Are you using Clay to write AI personalization? Or are you doing that elsewhere? Brian Smith asks.
Yes. Clay works great for AI personalization. It does the job. It does what you have to do. SmartLead's got personalization set up as well. You can do that instantly. It's got it. A lot of the tools have it. To be honest, it's such a feature parodied market right now. If we have it, the next person is gonna get it in like 3 weeks. If someone else has it, we'll bring it in 3 weeks. So, as customers, it's the best time to be. But in terms of that extra nudge of relevance, Clay is built for that. So, unfortunately, takes the lion's share for that.
And folks, Clay has so many great resources on YouTube, on Clay
100%.
University to figure out Clay. We're not affiliated with Clay, by the way. We're just fans and users.
Like us.
So, yeah.
V, dude, thank you for coming on and dropping knowledge. I'm excited to start this outbound thing again and to start using some of these tips that you gave us. I wouldn't have guessed the 3 to 4 word thing. I wouldn't have known the 2 email thing, but to be fair, Taylor Heron probably would. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is incredibly helpful, man. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Pierre, it's good to see you, man. It's been a minute. 100%.
Next week, by the way, for everybody who's still here, we got one of the most legendary epic bootstrappers, Nathan Barry from ConvertKit.
Ooh,
OG bootstrapper, 45 million ARR. Yeah, I met him last week at this YPO Marketing Summit event, and he's going to be live with us next Tuesday, same time, same place. Until next week, thank you for showing up. Thank you again, V. This is so valuable. Email's what everybody can't figure out. So thank you for helping us unfuck our email.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good
Thank you, V.
Cheers.